Are you happy?
My son, what are you doing with your life?
What are you doing today? You may not be that person now, but what are you still doing to try to excel in life? And a lot of people now are talking. I hear so much talk. I don't hear a lot of work.
Success is a lonely journey. That's just a reality.
I never ran from anything because I never had nobody to go to. I've always had that, where I'm going. Home to get me.
Do what no one else does. Run 3 o'clock in the morning because no one else is running 3 o'clock in the morning. If they're training 3 hours, you train 4 hours. You train when the gym is closed. You know, when the gym is closed and you already trained, you train again. You know, you have to do what no one else is doing. You know, when they're sleeping, you're running, you're working out.
I study the darkness. You find no fucking answers in the light. None. It's too happy, it's too nice. And we don't need to be taught how to live in happiness. That just comes naturally to us. Happy moments, but the dark times, man, you can't get there unless you put yourself there. Life will take you there.
But the thing is that all great things come with risk. If you put an idea out there, you risk ridicule. If you want to fall in love, you risk rejection. Wherever there is joy, there is suffering. And wherever there is suffering, there's potential for joy. The reality is that if you risk nothing, you become nothing. You are nothing. Because nothing ventured, nothing gained. You're not going to get what you want by never risking what you have.
A moment of fun replacing eternity? Come on. Be wise, my son.
It was isolation, it was visualization, it was motivation, and it was dedication. There was nothing else going on in my life, you know what I mean? It needs to be like that. It needs to be no outsiders. It needs to be, you need to have your team and your focus, and that's it. I don't need friends that aren't involved in this game.
People are not going to understand why you're so driven, why you're so obsessed. And if you try and make them understand, you're going to end up frustrated. The best advice I can tell you is, go on the journey by yourself. It is the best journey, man. Leveling up, becoming the best version of yourself is the most awesomest journey you will ever go on. But it's a journey that you will probably go on by yourself. Most people will not understand the level of obsession required. They will not understand the level of drive and determination that it takes for you to become that person.
Unfortunately, because of the lack of communication with my peers, I wasn't invited to parties or friendly gatherings on the weekend. So on Fridays and Saturdays, I would go to my rec room with my basketball and basically dribble myself to sleep. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because during those lonely hours in the rec room, I discovered the hunger, the motivation, and the desire to be the best possible basketball player that I could be.
When you're built different than everybody else and you have this desire for more and this desire for achievement and this desire to win, everybody else looks at you like you're fucked up. And they'll tell you that too. You know, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you just relax? Why can't you just do this? Because I'm just not built that way, man.
The world belongs to those who can continue to work without seeing the result of their work. Continue to do without seeing the result of their doing. And it's really the person who can do that for the longest period of time. And that's usually because they're still getting leading indicators. It's just that it's amounting to a much bigger mountain.
The only way that we can achieve our true destiny is to break the shackles that are holding us. And the answers to both of them are confidence and courage. Courage and confidence. It's not that we can't do it. We have capacities and abilities beyond anything that we have ever thought of in our whole life. You know, if you used your talents to the full for the rest of your life, you would never even use a fraction of what you're actually capable of.
Pressure is a privilege. You know what pressure means? That means somebody believes in you. Do you believe in yourself? These individuals here, they can't believe more in you than you believe in yourself. They can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. Their obligation can't be greater than your obligation to yourself. Pressure defines who you are and who you're not. But you know what pressure does? It defines who you can become.
What do you want in your life? We have so much influence coming at us that we are so lost. We don't know what we want to do because we don't spend enough time with ourselves. You have to learn to shut off a phone, shut off a computer, shut off a TV. And it's okay to sit in a room by yourself in a chair and just think about you, where I want to be, where do I see myself tomorrow, the next year from that. And it takes a lot of self-discipline to be able to do that nowadays because you want to be so attached to everything. You want to be so caught up with the world. The world's moving too fast. The world's moving so fast that you're trying to keep up to the point where you lose yourself in the world. So you have to take that time and go to that dark place in your mind and discover who you are.
You're not gonna watch a single thing on TikTok or Instagram today that'll have the answers you're looking for because they're all within you. Enough self-improvement content, just go self-improve. Enough business motivation, just go do business. It would serve me much better to sit here and say that you need me, but you don't. The only thing I serve is an example of someone actually living it. But don't watch me like this is reality TV. I'm someone that actually cares to see you change your life for real. So please, just start on the living part.
If you keep going to the next level, you suck at the next level. You're not doing anything at the next level. So here's what that example is. Here's a human being. They've reached here. They're beating most people. They think they've reached it. They have no idea that there's that level there because there's fear. And every time you and I, believe me, I know this from experience, every time people that tell you, oh my gosh, you're so amazing, you're so this, you're so great, wow, Patrick, wow, Johnny, wow, Steve, wow, Bobby, boom, you believe it. But you're not there yet because you haven't reached your capacity yet. Are you really maximizing these things? Are you really? Fully? Yes? Huh. I don't know about that.
The reality of achievement, brother, is it takes way longer than we think. It's way harder than we think. And that's just the way it is, bro.
Expecting it to be easy is what makes it much harder than it ever is.
Nothing is easy. Like running is running. It sucks, but you have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes.
That it will take longer. It will be more difficult. It will require more effort on your part. But you know what I can tell you about that? When you do the hard things, you will have a happy and easy life. But if you constantly choose to take the path of easy and negotiate and compromise, you will have a hard life.
When you are in uncertainty, when you feel at risk, when you feel exposed, don't tap out. Stay brave, stay uncomfortable, lean into the hard conversation, and keep leading. Stay brave.
What percentage of your potential would you like to have? Because if you say you'd like 60 and you'd like to spend the other 40% having fun, that's fine. But what percentage of what is available to you would you like to make happen? I said 100.
I want it all.
And then the voice in my head said, okay, do you know what that means? And I went, we don't have to talk anymore. I get it.
So the best advice I can give anybody suffering from mental health or just going through a bad time is you have to really analyze your life. Because I guarantee you, most of the things that we're going through, someone else has already gone through. So what one person can do, another can do. And it's important that we believe that you are not alone in this journey. You're not the first person to go through what you're going through. Whatever you're dealing with, you are not the first person to endure whatever you're going through. So what that means is this: you are just as tough as all the other people that have endured what you are enduring right now. So always stay in the fight.
I'm tired. I've been fighting this guy for nearly 12 hours straight. I haven't had anything to eat or drink. And he's not even tired. But I am. I'm hurt, and I'm tired, and I want to go home, and I want to sleep, and I don't want to be here, and I think, can I let this one go? Can I let it be someone else's problem? Just for a minute, so I can rest. No, I can't. But I wish I could. God, but I wish I could.
You will be rewarded far more in life for your determination than your intelligence. And the problem is that determination just looks like a long string of failures until it works. You are rewarded for being able to endure the long string of failures more than you're rewarded for your intellect at avoiding them. Because the thing is that suffering is guaranteed. You sticking it out is not. You have to incur risk, period. You will fail, period. The only thing that people will remember over the long term, and often the only thing you will remember, is whether you won or not. And so do whatever it takes to win, because you're probably only gonna remember snippets of it, and everyone else isn't even thinking about it to begin with.
This is going beyond your talent. So when there's no more talent, what happens to you? Most people quit. People only go to their talent level. And once your talent level is gone, it becomes a mental game. That the whole mental game sets in then. It's because you're performing to your talent. And then after that, your mind has nothing for you. Nothing for you.
The first way to get focus is to find purpose. The way to find purpose is you must identify what it is that you have to be purposeful in.
Feed what I want to do, feed where I want to go, starve the negativity, starve the destructive behavior. It'll die. What I feed grows. The greatest tool you and I have as people, and this is what makes us unique beyond every other living being entity that has a heartbeat on this planet. Every other animal, I don't care what's out there that's a living organism. What makes you and I unique is whatever we put our time and our focus into grows.
Who do you need to become to embody a mindset of confidence, of strength, of optimism, growth, tenacity? The kind of person who makes lemons into lemonade, right? For me, my single word is captain. I'm the captain now. And when I conjure the vision of what it means to be the captain of my ship, I embody a mindset that says, irrespective of the size of the swells, irrespective of the winds that blows or don't, I am the captain of this ship.
Quit running away from the gift. Your gift will make room for you. Stop trying to be something you ain't gifted at. Listen to me. All of you have this gift. Identify it. It's the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's what you should be doing. You're wasting your time pursuing your passion.
We feed, we'll build, and what we starve will die. Time and focus are the most two valuable tools we have as people.
Identify your God-given gift and go and get your life. Quit tripping because you don't have what a group of people told you you need to be successful.
When things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. And it's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. But let me tell you, that doesn't mean give up.
You have to act on your passion. You have to act on your inner drive. Don't let those feelings stay inside of you. You gotta know what to do with them. You gotta know how to make them work in order to get what you want. Don't keep it inside. This is about being able to think like a champion.
What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself? Of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that? The difference between ordinary people
And extraordinary people is one word, extra. If you put extra on top of ordinary, you become extraordinary. You ain't got to be like everybody else.
You got to call forth some things in you. Words are powerful. You've got to speak your success into existence. This is your time. Don't argue. This is your time. I want you to think about what you want and how you would feel once you achieve that. If it's achieving a certain goal that you have in mind, if it's being financially free, if it's having a relationship that's meaningful, that's loving, that's honest. I want you to think about doing a work that you feel that's the calling for you, and that you go to bed thinking about it. You wake up looking forward to doing it. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about doing something for someone that you love and the joy that you will get out of sharing some experiences with that person that you love, or somebody that has done something special for you. And I want to say to you, this is your time to do it.
And the work that I'm now on this planet to do, and that I would argue anyone is on this planet to do, is find a way every day to honor the intention of a creator who had very intentional design in the way that you were put together and the way that you've experienced the things that you have. So my question was, why was I created? Like, what was the intention?
That the reason discipline is hard to maintain is because it is hard to maintain. That's what makes discipline hard. It's hard.
Remember, the mind controls the body does not control the mind. What makes these guys special and successful in everything they do is not their physical gifts, it's their mental toughness. They have the ability not to think when everyone else is thinking. Decide, commit, act, succeed.
Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Shut that down. Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights, sprint the hill, work on the project, get out of bed.
Turn a deaf ear to people that all they can do is talk about how negative things are because they have bought into the consciousness of the world. So we created this in our minds, false evidence appearing real. We made it real in our minds. That's why Churchill said there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
You stayed on the warpath, which is right where you know that you belong.
Your life is the exact reflection of the choices you have made. Love your life? Great, you've made awesome choices. Hate your life? I'm sorry, you've made bad choices. But the good news is, you're in control.
Many people die at age 21 and don't get buried until they're 65. They're walking dead.
Well, what better subject to study than ourselves? What better subject to interrogate, investigate daily? What's the one character we should never get bored with chasing to figure out what's the one. It's also the one character that we can't get away from ourselves. It's the one person that we can't get rid of.
I think that if you change some of these core beliefs, there's a ripple effect, meaning that if you believe that you are solely responsible for your life, that you are not a victim, that you are creating your reality, then that changes all these sub-beliefs. If you aren't making the money that you want to make, or that your relationship is, you feel like there's turmoil there, or you have some health challenges or whatever, if I take responsibility, it changes all these like singular beliefs about who's at fault. I feel like a lot of people give away their power to their family, to their friends, based on their expectations, or their opinions of you, how you're going to look, and what failure is interpreted, and it slows us down.
It's what tears us apart and challenges us, that teaches us the noble virtues of the great women and men of the world. The ego says, let me get out of this difficult season as quickly as possible so I can eat in nice restaurants and hang out with the cool people and do fun things. But a bad day for the ego is a great day for the hero inside.
Price of living the truth. It's got to be more than this.
Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation working out. And so the more valuable the goal, in principle, the more the micro processes associated with that goal start to take on a positive charge. And so what that means is, well, you get up in the morning and you're excited about the day, you're ready to go.
Habits and how you stick with them, even when you're bored, even when it's not interesting anymore, long after it stopped being fun. The very secret to habits is caring about the thing that habit is meant to lead to. But for real, like really, what do you care about?
Even if I experience defeat or failure, that does not make me a failure. But don't confuse who you are with the results that you produce.
The best feeling, which is to feel good about yourself when you're by yourself, is to do the hard things, and the things that bring fulfillment are often born of momentary suffering, but they allow you to get stronger in order to serve other people.
Soul set is saying, I'm going to do that deep interior work, so when I go out in the world, I'm living for a mission, a mighty mission that is larger than myself. Soul set is about turning down the chattering voice of the ego so you're an instrument of service for many. Soul set is about developing a rich, robust, undefeatable character, so that when you go out in the world, you take the stones your critics throw at you and you build them into monuments of mastery.
That there's a responsibility to freedom, and that there is freedom in responsibility. And that earn your way there. We remember the stuff we earn, the stuff we experience, more than what the teacher tells us or what someone gives us for free. Those stick with us. Whether we forget them intellectually, they were written in our lineage, and they build resilience, and they build a healthy, true optimism going forward, to know that, oh no, I've worked for something before and achieved it. Delayed gratification. Oh, there are choices I can make today for myself that will pay me back later in life.
If you configure your life so that what you are genuinely doing is aiming at the highest possible good, then the things that you need to survive and to thrive on a day-to-day basis will deliver themselves to you.
Sometimes it's not even about what choice we make. Just make a choice and commit to it and go and dive in. Because you can look up and days, weeks, months, years can go by and you can go, I've been tiptoeing around here, not committing to anything for so damn long. I'm missing out. If we could just say, we're all just achieving our way to the unachievable, and that's as good as it gets.
Everything in our life is controlled by 3 decisions. I think one of the most powerful things we do to serve you is have you become clear of what the controlling force is that's controlling the quality of your life. And you and I both know it's not the amount of money in your pocket, it's not who you know, it's not even what you've been through. It's really the decisions you make moment to moment. The first one is, what are you going to focus on?
What makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. See, but you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else.
If you want to get better, you have to find out what you're avoiding and what you're afraid of, and maybe what you're disgusted by even. And you have to expose yourself to that voluntarily, and you have to let that change you.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder.
Here's the reality, and you're gonna feel the truth of this instantly. Most dreams never come true. Most of the people that you know, most of the dreams that you've had for yourself, they haven't come true. Why not? Because they're brutally difficult.
The fall. It goes back, as a matter of fact, to extremely fundamental things. That there is always a curious tie at some point between the fall and the creation. Taking this ghastly risk is the condition of there being life. You see, for all, the life is an act of faith and an act of gamble.
Returning is the motion of the Tao. Returning is the motion of the Tao. So that all of us came from a divine spiritual essence, invisible. Everything in the world of form emanated from something that is formless. There was a split second when you went from non-being to being. To be able to return to that place from which you came and live your life from the spiritual perspective and become a God-realized being. Another great poet, T.S. Eliot, once said, "We shall not cease from exploration. And at the end of all of our exploring will be to arrive where we started and to know the place for the first time."
From the moment you come awake till the moment you fall asleep, how many moments and how many actions and how many thoughts and how many emotions, or how much percentage of it do you conduct consciously? This will determine the state of your evolution right now.
Your ambitions blind you to the nature of reality. Now, they illuminate some reality. But one of the things that you might ask yourself once you know that is that if you're suffering dreadfully, then one possibility is that you're so fixed on a point, the fact that you're so fixed on the point that you're fixed on might be integrally related to why things are going so catastrophically wrong.
Do what you did in the beginning and there won't be an end. Because when you think it's the beginning, you behave differently than the end. The meaning we associate to things controls our entire lives. When we take control of the meaning, it's the only thing we can control our lives. We can't control events.
But the only way that that dream is going to come true, even over that long period of time, is if you're going all out every day.
Fear fuels you.
Fear lets you know, go get more information. Fear lets you know, stay up a little later and study. Fear lets you know, get up a little earlier. Fear lets you know, ask for help. Fear is informing you. It's not stopping you. It's just another emotion like love and compassion and gratitude. We just made it paralyze us.
Not everything you want, everything you already have, because what you have is substantial. The fact that you can walk, that's a blessing. The fact that you woke up, that's another blessing. The fact that you can see, think, reason, that's another blessing. Ability to dream is a blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing.
The moment you take a step, you do so on an act of faith because you don't really know that the floor is not going to give under your feet. The moment you take a journey, what an act of faith. The moment you enter into any kind of human undertaking in relationship, what an act of faith. But this is the most powerful thing that can be done, surrender.
But what does matter is your entire life is being lived by your brain. You're more likely to believe something negative than you are something positive. Now think about how that can echo through your life. Each of us has to realize that all of the beliefs that we have in our life are choices.
When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Expecting somebody else to change or something outside of you to get better in order for you to make your life work, it's in here.
See, fear doesn't stop me. Fear informs me. And when you get intimately connected with the fear, I feel it. And I'm moving forward anyway. I feel it. And I'm going to love anyway. I feel it. And I'm going to invest in me anyway. I feel it. And I'm going to show up and play anyway. When you get connected with fear, it becomes your best friend. And when you stand on the edge, you feel the breeze.
They have that story of just depression, that story of where you stop believing in yourself and you suck and you're just not good, where it can bring you to your knees. That's part of the process. I mean, that's part of you coming face to face with who you really are. What are you going to do about it now? And I think from there, that's how you learn. At least that created a real hunger for me to go out and actually study the great ones. Study the people that have had great success, because it leaves clues. Because the formula for success is there. But we all have these stories that I'll come in here and I can tell you my story. There's underlying, there's always stories of jealousy, there's stories of, okay, I'm not good enough, there's stories of, I don't have what it takes, and the self-doubt and all that, and envy, and all that stuff, wrapped up in different stories.
But I think that we live in an age when our lives are regularly punctuated by career crises, by moments when what we thought we knew about our lives, about our careers, comes into contact with a threatening sort of reality. It's perhaps easier now than ever before to make a good living. It's perhaps harder than ever before to stay calm, to be free of anxiety.
Because the moment you identify yourself with something, your intellect's work is just to protect that identity. If whatever the identities of nation or family or gender or race, religion, whatever, the moment you identify yourself with something, your intellect will only function around that to protect that. So it is a certain type of prejudice the moment you're identified. So the only thing I did with my life is I never identified myself with anything, and life just exploded within me in ways that thought seems so puny that I do not indulge in thought most of the time.
You matter. Most people don't believe they matter, that they're worth it. And they're worth it very much. They matter very much. There's a reason why they're here. And we all go through different challenges and obstacles in our life. And they're natural. We need to face these challenges. They're here to teach us something about ourselves and why we're here. So listen to the challenges, listen to the obstacles, don't run away from them, and focus every day on how you can improve just a little bit of your life so you can feel better and make someone else better around you.
I think it's about refusing to have someone define you and to say, I'm not going to be silent. I have to maintain my authenticity because it is in how we give our voice, give ourselves permission to speak our truth. That's what's going to change our world and the world around us.
I always thought that confidence was a thing that you feel. And I have come to prefer that confidence is something that you do. Meaning that, you know, a lot of people to think, okay, well, you're going to feel confident first, and then once you feel confident, then you'll take the action. And that's wrong. It's not a chicken or an egg in my mind. I think what happens is you have to force yourself in a moment of self-doubt to do something. And when you see yourself taking action, the confidence follows. So I have created my own definition of confidence, which is confidence is the willingness to try. And you display the willingness to try when you take action. It's a lot like the relationship between courage and fear. You can't have courage without fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in the face of it. And confidence isn't the absence of self-doubt, it's being willing to try even though you doubt yourself.
But what the hell is success? It's hitting an expectation. And I always tell people, man, trade your expectations for appreciation, and it's a whole new world instantly. If you can appreciate this moment, if you can't find ecstasy in this moment, in a conversation with a friend, and looking in your wife's eyes, being with your children, going on a run, if you can't find ecstasy now, I'm here to tell you, more money, more people, more love, more business, more anything is not going to give you more ecstasy. If you can't do it here now, you're not going to do it there when you got more. So why not do it now and have a rich life right now? I tell people, money, that's one thing. Like having financial abundance, there's skills, that's a science. But wealth, it's a decision.
To recognize the gifts in you, the talents in you. Because sometimes we numb those talents because we are always afraid, because we want to listen to what others say about us, but it's important to dig deep within you. Come home to yourself. When you do come home to yourself, then you own who you are and you own your voice.
Focus in on our ideas and make sure that we own them, that we are truly the authors of our own ambitions, because it's bad enough not getting what you want. But it's even worse to have an idea of what it is you want and find out at the end of the journey that it isn't in fact what you wanted all along.
We're built for struggle, us human beings. We're built to contend with the world. We're built to contend with reality. You want a challenge, and the best way that you can take on a challenge, because a challenge fortifies you. So you don't want to be secure, you want to be strong. And you get strong by taking on optimal challenges. Life is bounded by mortality, but that doesn't mean that you don't get out there and contend. And you develop by contending, and you minimize the net amount of suffering in the world. And that's something, man, that's something to do.
They have a negative attitude where they think that, well, if I don't do anything, if I just be a slacker, at least I won't fail, and I can kind of make myself feel better that I'm the best slacker that there is. You know, if you don't try too hard, you're never going to fail. You're never going to have the pain of failure. So that's the negative side of insecurity. But it can also motivate you to try even harder, to actually get work done, and to make it something really great, and to doubt yourself constantly.
The future, we don't know. The past, it's gone. Now, the only thing you can deal with is what's right here, right now. And if you look, the sand is always moving. Point is this is all we've got right here, right now. We don't know how much we have left in the future, but we do know what we've got now. And I have found the people that win are the people who make up their mind. They're not going to waste the minutes. They're going to be productive. They're going to make it happen every minute.
No matter how far you get in life, you have to be able to go back to scratch in your mind at a moment's notice. You can never get so far beyond scratch. What that means is, when you accomplish something in life, if you're going to go back to scratch and visit that place for a long period of time, if you were here when you went back to scratch, you would now be here. Scratch is what makes you better. Scratch, friction, obstacles create growth. There's no friction when you're this far up in the game anymore. So your comforts are now, so your discomfort is now very minuscule to your discomfort back here. So you have to go back to the total discomfort to then raise your level of where you're at now.
I think in the end, it's persistence is more important than anything else, and having a desire to do something. You want to prove something, so you have a vision of where you want to go, you're willing to persist and overcome. That's probably the key thing. You have to have a vision of where you want to go, you have to persist in it, you have to be willing to overcome failures and not be afraid of making a mistake.
When you're down and out, the first thing people do is blame it on everybody else but themselves. When you start taking responsibility, you have a little different outlook.
More radical than necessary change, the more pain that accompanies it. Like the more opportunity as well. And a lot of what we learn painfully. And so it's not surprising that people shrink away from learning. We learn in pain and anxiety very frequently. Everyone knows that. It's like the things that you really learned in life, it's like, it was no joy, man. Like it took you out. And so the fact that people flee from that is hardly surprising. But it doesn't help, that's the thing. It just stores up the catastrophe for later. The better idea is to eat a little poison every day so that you don't have to overdose in a month. You tend not to learn unless you're forced to learn, and what you tend to learn by force are difficult lessons. And so people are very prone to not seek that out. It's not surprising. But it's because they don't understand the consequences very well. Any way of forestalling it. All you do is make it worse in the future. You make yourself smaller and you make the lesson harder. But you have to have a very tragic, I would say, view of reality, and also a harsh one, because it's not just tragedy, it's also malevolence. You have to understand that those are waiting for you. And that makes you desperate enough to learn. And that might make you desperate enough to fall out of your ideology. But that's a hard way of looking at the world. It beats living through it, though.
You just have to know the first step to take. And when you take that step, you're going to find that your conditions, your circumstance, and environment will change. Then you see how you have to make the next step. It's a matter of adapting all the time. You only have to know two things. You have to know where you're going, and you have to know that you're going to get there. You've got to see it in your mind. Now, this is the beautiful scenario. This is what it's all about. Save that in your mind and think of it often. Think, every time you think of your goal and you're trying to figure out how you're going to do it, think of that vertical wall of ice. What's the next step? That's all you really have to know. One step at a time. And you'll get to wherever you're going.
You get to choose your life. You get to choose how you feel, not other people. There's these illusions in life. We really can't control anything other than our own thoughts, our own behavior, our own patterns. We can't control what other people do, say, or think.
It's an opportunity, and the opportunity is on many levels to rethink your life, to rethink your values, to rethink where you're going, to rethink what your career should be, what your relationship to other people should be. It's a time to reorient yourself to who you are and what you like and what what your goals are and what makes you unique. If you take that attitude, then the obstacle is the way. If you have that attitude where obstacles are actually the path forward, nothing's going to stop you. But it's all how you look at things. It's kind of a mental process that you switch to seeing the positive side.
Truth of the matter is that you have a lot of potential as a child, but none of that is capable of manifesting itself as freedom before you become disciplined. And discipline is a matter of the imposition of order, and the order is necessary, especially for people who are hopeless and nihilistic. And lots of people are hopeless and nihilistic. Way more people than you think. And part of that is because no one's ever really encouraged them. Lay a disciplinary structure on yourself, get the chaos in check, and then you can move towards a state that's freer, because it's discipline first. Comes out of that is a much grander freedom. And so virtually every freedom that you have in life that's true freedom is purchased at the price of discipline.
Most people half-ass half their life all the time. I knew they were gonna get tired, they were gonna flinch, they were gonna get down, they quit improving themselves, they start sleeping in. I'm gonna keep getting wide, I'm gonna stay relentless. Don't give in to the fears, don't give in to the setbacks. You're gonna have failure, it's part of the game.
One thing you have to learn early in life, I didn't learn this till later on. You can't care what anybody thinks about you.
There is no excuse for not living up to your fullest potential. No excuse. And I stopped being a victim. I stopped saying I've got to wait for good things to happen to me. And I said I'm going to ride. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press forward. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power every single day to become a victor and not a victim.
Well, why do meaningful things? Well, first of all, what is meaning? But then why do meaningful things? And the answer is, well, because life is suffering and malevolence. It's ineradicable at its core. It's like, that will take you out. Make no mistake about it. You need something you need to be armed with virtue in order for that not to turn into hell. Really, you really need that.
So the system wants you to feel mostly powerless because they have power, you don't. And it also wants you to feel inadequate until you buy more stuff, because that's what marketers sell us, is the idea that until you buy this, you're incomplete. It turns out those two things don't make people happy. What makes us happy is agency, knowing that we have some sort of control over what's going to happen in our life. And unfortunately, the economic structure that we live in isn't going to be easy for most people to fix, not in the short run. But what we can fix right now is how we respond or react to what's happening in front of us.
If you're in your 20s and you're listening right now, you're like, yeah, whatever, I don't need mindset. Just give me that thing that makes me the money or fixes my relationship or puts me in shape. Just give me it, I'm a hustler, I'll do it. But we're wrong. You know, I would think mindset in my 20s was 10% and 90% was the thing. And now I realize it's 90% mindset and 10% the thing. Most of us think we need more resources. If I had support from my family, if somebody lent me the money, if someone would just show me how to do it. All these things, because we think if we had the resources, we could make it work. And what I realized at 51, looking back, having more success than I could have ever imagined possible, I feel blessed every single day of my life. It has nothing to do with resources. It has to do with resourcefulness.
Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture.
Nobility of purpose. That's it. You have that, then you can, then you have something to set against the suffering and the malevolence. It's an instinct, meaning. It's the instinct of life. My life is meaningless. It's the spirit has gone out of you. It's like, well, and you know, modern people, it's part of this process of criticism. We criticize the idea of meaning so much that we don't really believe in it anymore. It's like, well, that's fine, you can not believe it, but try living without it and see how far you get with that.
What if today was the last day of your life? What's ungiven? Who would you need to speak to? What gifts still remain in your heart? And I truly hope that each of us live a long life. But to me, the real success of life is not the duration, but it's how you live while you're living it. What if today was the last day of your life? How would you need to live your life, rearrange your life so that if death came, you could throw your arms wide open and say, yes, I'm ready?
If you are happy where you are, then congratulations, it's so good to have you here. But if you're someone who wants to move away from something that's not perfect, or you want to move towards something that's better, know that your beliefs, your best thinking got you to this point. And the only thing that takes you to the next point, the next level of your business, starting the business, scaling the business, intimate relationship, passion, in shape, is new beliefs. It's like the beliefs that got you out of Egypt are not the beliefs that'll take you to the promised land.
We could dig deep into emotional labor, not the physical labor of digging a latrine, but the emotional labor of sitting when we feel like running, of whispering when we feel like yelling. We could dig deep and say, in this moment, I'm going to choose to be the best version of myself and seek possibility. It turns out that that's a life, that you can build an entire life merely doing that. And then what happens, more often than not, is the world responds by inviting you to play on a bigger stage.
You get ready to go back into your lives. You live every single day in such a way so that every single moment of your life, you can say, yes, yes, it's a good day to die. I believe it's then, in that moment, you will be fully alive.
We want people to make guarantees to us, but we're not willing to make guarantees to ourselves. Somebody gave you a guarantee, $30, 30-day guarantee. In 30 days, if you don't make what they told you was gonna make, in 30 days you got an attitude, you want your money back, but you've never demanded your money back from yourself.
It's like, okay, you need a reason to get out of bed on a terrible day. Okay, what's that reason gonna be? Well, let's think it through. You know people who can get out of bed on a terrible day. Do you admire them? Yes. What are those people like? Are they taking responsibility for themselves? Definitely. Do they have excess capacity, so they're taking responsibility for other people? Yeah. Are they doing difficult things? Yes, obviously. The more you respect them, the more you also see that they're doing difficult things and doing them well. So what does that mean? Do some difficult things.
So this is not about hustling. I'm not a fan of hustling. I'm a fan of a generous hustle. And the generous hustle says, how can I do things in the world to leave a better trail and to help other people, not how do I do things so I get my fair share. Because the world doesn't respond well to hustlers. They don't like being hustled. But the world responds really well to people who take responsibility and give away credit.
So for those of you that don't know what to do and how it's going to happen and where the resources are going to come from, you just say yes and watch life go. Your job is not to go out there and make it happen, go out there and manifest it. Everything is already manifested. Everything is already available. Your job is to simply say yes and get yourself the hell out of the way.
Find out who you are, whoever that may be. I don't give what you are. Find out who you are and own that motherfucker and tell people to go f themselves. Don't ever worry about anybody and what the f think about you. You do that, I guarantee you, your life will be in shambles.
You've never looked at yourself in the mirror and said, you let you down. Until you get to that point, you let you down. And that's the problem with some of you. You always want to blame other people. You always want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, do it with everything that you have. Develop the habit of giving more than what you're paid for. Develop the habit of setting standards that others will be measured by. Do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail.
Yeah. So in order to change a belief or a perception about yourself and your life, you got to go all in. It's not like you go 50% in. You got to go all in. You got to make a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carries a level of energy that causes the body to respond to the mind, that the choice that you make becomes a moment in time you'll never forget. And you would say, I remember the moment and made up my mind to change. And the stronger the emotion you feel, the more you'll pay attention to the decision, and that's a huge stone.
The process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain.
There's a bigger dream waiting for you, just waiting for you to step into it. To step into it. Your life is big. Your life is huge. And we spend so much time wanting to be in somebody else's life. And you don't get honored, you don't get revered, you don't get celebrating wanting what somebody else has.
But momentum requires you always do the next thing to keep the momentum going. And the reason you get yourself in a passionate place is so that you change your life, and the only thing that changes your life is making a decision. So while you're in this passionate state, that's where you make decisions. If you make a decision in a state without momentum, if you make a decision from a place where there's no passion, you are not going to get momentum. It'll kill momentum. It's decide, commit, and resolve.
Well, the first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. First thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. And you might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that.
Yeah,
and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
It's okay to settle. It's okay to give up. And that is the instinct you need to fight. You need to push back, to smash into the ground. Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up based on instinct.
I don't remember now, I'm not talking about what makes you happy. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice.
Instinct that says, you've had enough. This is the instinct that says, you've given it your best shot. You can stand down. You can back off. You can take a knee. This is the instinct that says, you can rest now. Do not listen to that instinct. Do not listen.
If you are not defined by some vision that is bigger than you, and you are not passionate about that vision, then you're left with the old hardware of the past in your brain, and you will be predictable in your life. So would you agree then? New thoughts, new information should lead to new choices. New choices should lead to new behaviors. And new behaviors should create new experiences. And new experiences should produce new emotions.
Most people are not accumulating wealth. Most people are living in poverty. Most people are living far below their potential, not because they don't have the capacity, not because they have not been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, but most people are living like they're living because of the fact that they don't believe they can have any more than what they now have.
A resilient person is capable of standing up to things in the face of fear and moving forward voluntarily, convinced of their own competence and ability to prevail.
If you break, the fight is just beginning. And as you crawl up and out of that dismal and wretched place, as you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
So every day you have to sell yourself and get out of your mind those old thoughts, that old belief system. Every day you've got to sell yourself on that it's possible.
A person's strengths are often their biggest weaknesses. And so that also means that their weaknesses can be their strengths. I am weak, but I don't accept that. I don't accept that I am what I am and that is what I'm doomed to be. No, I don't accept that. I'm fighting. I'm always fighting. I'm struggling and I'm scrapping and I'm kicking and clawing at those weaknesses to change them, stop them. Some days I win. Some days I don't.
We try to make our dreams come true. But the reality of all that is sacrifice. And those dreams quickly become nightmares. Those nightmares are where our demons lie. That's the domain in which they know we don't want to go into all those early mornings. It wakes up all these things that we failed at. Past childhood trauma. Those demons are in those nightmares. That's what keeps us from accomplishing our dreams. But you're going in there, and when the backs are turned, you can rear naked choke out. That's the mentality you must have, and always have. Stay hard.
Everyone goes through moments of doubt and despair. So you need something to protect your mindset against that loop because it will chip away at you. And the belief is very simple. You don't do things that don't serve you.
You only have so much energy in your life. You only have so much focus in your life. You only have so much ability in your life to choose what you're going to do and what you're going to be and what your identity and your self-image is going to be. And when you choose to be one of these victims who thinks there's an Olympics out there for the saddest motherfucking story, that means you have no room to move forward. You have no room for dreams. You have no room for aspirations. You have no room for the actions that lead to those aspirations because you're so busy filling your mind with the bad that's happened to you already in life that you have zero chance moving forward.
But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back. And I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it. And you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out.
But each and every day, I get back up and I move forward with my fists clenched toward the battle, toward the struggle. And I fight with everything I've got to overcome those weaknesses and those shortfalls and those flaws. As I strive to be just a little bit better today than I was yesterday.
You don't think everyone out there has a sad story of some sort? Fuck, dude. Everybody has hard they gotta go through. There's not a single fucking successful person on this planet that hasn't gone through their version of really hard shit. And the fact that I see so many people create their identities around creating sympathy for whatever their issues might be honestly disgusts me to the core. That's not what you're supposed to be about. So what's it gonna be, man? Are you gonna sit there for the rest of your life and talk about all the hard that's happened? Learn what you need to learn from the things that have happened to you and move the f*** on.
Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up! That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.
You know who has a plan B? Winners that lose. That's a fact, okay? Every single person that wins big, every single person that you look at, every single person that you're inspired by, every single person that you aspire to be like, they only have one plan, and that is they are gonna win or they are gonna die trying.
Begin. You know, I hear that a lot, like where do I start? I would say there is huge power in beginning, and there's huge power in starting. It's almost like the universe begins to support you when you take that first step. I would say believe in you when no one else believes in you until the whole world believes in you. I think the reason why we even have the question of where do I begin is from fear. We're paralyzed. So it's start to believe in yourself and realize all the great heroes were anonymous for 25 or 30 years before the world celebrated them.
Turn your wounds into wisdom. You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. Some people will call them failures. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction. It's just an experience.
So what's the fucking excuse? Is it too cold where you live? Is it too hot where you live? Does it rain too much? You're allowing people and things and situations to on space in your head, you're losing. Last thing, life's one big head game. You play with yourself. If you lose, it's because you allow life to get in your head. Stay hard.
Listen, if you're on a quest to be a better version of you, I promise mistakes are going to be made along the way. If you don't want to wear someone else's name on the back of your jersey, if you want to live life to the fullest, if you don't want to see a video at the end of your life of the woman that you could have been, then we are going to make mistakes. We are going to fail. That means that you are moving forward. If you don't have any mistakes, then I'm sorry you didn't try enough. You're playing it safe and nothing is going to change. I want you to be disturbed with inaction. You want another level of life? We gotta screw up. We gotta get out and step off the path. We gotta get out of the norm. We gotta get away from what's comfortable. You wanna take the island, you have to burn the boats. And that journey, you are gonna mess up. You are gonna fail. You are gonna do things wrong.
We were created with everything. We are created from everything. There is no separation between us and the world in which we live. And so when we are breathing very shallow, protection, close yourself down. Shallow breathing, closing yourself down. When you start to learn to take in the breath of life, you are opening yourself to the entire world around us. And that opening of the world makes us part of this world, not a separate piece from one another.
It's very important as you hold on to that dream. There are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass.
That in order to move forward, you move forward by taking the next right step. You don't have to know all the steps to make, just what is the next right move.
Don't worry about motivation. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes. It is unreliable, and when you are counting on motivation to get your goals accomplished, you will likely fall short. So don't expect to be motivated every day to get out there and make things happen. You won't be. Don't count on motivation. Count on discipline.
I don't know if I should leap afraid, and then gather your courage on the way down. And if you don't get it before you hit, it's gonna hit anyway. I'd rather die leaping than on the edge figuring out how to get the courage to leap.
But once you turn down the loud voices of your ego and you start to hear the silent whispers of your inner hero, you start living the truth. And when you do that consistently, you become the most powerful person in every room.
As a child, my parents always told me you could be whatever you want to be. You could do whatever you want to do. And it was something, I heard my parents saying it, but I didn't totally believe it. Yet I went out in the world and I carried myself and I held my head high and I stood there and I looked people in their eyes and I talked to people as if I was deserving of everything that this planet has to offer. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right.
If you take an oak tree seed and you put it in a 2-foot pot, that seed will never become the oak tree that oak trees are capable of becoming because it's gonna get stifled by the 2-foot pot. Now check this out, ain't nothing wrong with the seed. Seed just fell prey to the environment. You are a seed from God. God made you in his likeness. He big, he vast. Don't you allow your environment to dictate the oak tree that you become. Don't die with this gift and don't never use it. All of y'all got this wonderful gift, but you gotta use it. Take your seed, take your gift. Get away from these people that's in your life that ain't doing nothing.
I saw setbacks and nothing but character builders. It's done. Nothing you can do about it. But there's one thing you can do though. If it goes wrong, apply pressure to it. Ask the gods of the world, is this all you have? Can you give me some more? Put some and hate on that motherfucker. Put some grind on it. Keep on moving. Stay hard.
When you got an idea you want to move on, you might not have the money, you might not have the education, you might not have the support or the resources you need. What is that something that can keep us going, that will enable us to act on our dream? What's one of those keys? That's all I want you to do when you look at your dream. Just say to yourself every day, it's possible.
I've been on this quest to figure out how can a person get on a journey to dreams, goals, and aspirations, and the moment they hit opposition, adversity, or challenge, it doesn't mean anything to them anymore. So I said, man, is your happiness that cheap? Like, is your dedication that cheap? Is your level of commitment that cheap to where all it takes is for something not to go the way that I want it to go, and I'm not the same individual, and the level of which I once cared, I no longer care that deep about? Like, is it that cheap? Like, is that all it takes for me to get started, and something doesn't go the way that I want it to go, and I'm not invested in it anymore? And what I've always wanted to do was be committed beyond circumstance.
The darkness. The sun doesn't shine every day. The storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and dark and you will be alone. Even in the darkest times, even in the strongest storms, even when the sun is blotted out and the world is falling apart, the darkness cannot extinguish your light.
What it's really going to take for you to get to that next level is to understand that the person that you are has gotten you as far as it's ever going to get you. So you've got to become a new person. You literally have to adapt. Now the great news is that is what humans are wired to do. Humans are the ultimate adaptation machine. When you're willing to put yourself under those kinds of stresses to become that new thing you want to become, to be the new person that you want to be, to go farther than anyone you know has ever gone, to be the GOAT, it is possible, but it demands a price. It demands a price.
You're not understanding that the adversity, the struggle, the hard times, the difficult things, the frustration, those are the things that create our skill sets. Those are the lessons that we learn that give us the skills to then put the skills into play and produce a better life.
Here's the deal. If you get to the top of the tree, all the fruit from the bottom at the top is gonna be there, son. So I don't need you focusing on cars and money and stuff. You're gonna get that. I need you to focus on why you were born in the first place. Why are you here on earth for this particular time? What are you doing here?
Meaning my greatness and my excellence can't be compartmentalized to an individual, to an environment, to a circumstance, meaning it is my essence. I show up and I want to impact because this is who I am as an individual. It's my essence, meaning when the adversity and the opposition hit, like the only thing I've been trained to do was to think positive and look positive, and I reverse engineered it.
No matter how hard the fight is, as long as you keep fighting, you win.
Your DNA is in your dream. Your DNA is in your dream.
Surrender is defeat. Only quitting is the end. Because the darkness only wins if you let it.
I don't care how dark it looked for you. I don't care what they just said to you. I don't care what the verdict is. I don't care what the haters say. Prayer changed things.
You constantly remind yourself, after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
We can talk about and whine about and cry about everything in our lives, but there's only one thing that's going to change it, and that's actually taking action towards the place that you want to go.
The world is not like the movies. The movies aren't real. They don't exist. But you do. And this life it's better than any movie there is. Movies are supposed to provoke emotion. They're supposed to make you feel something. But I have a better idea. Go out into the world and actually feel it. I get worn down. Of course, I get frustrated with stuff. Of course, things don't always go my way. But what do I do when those things happen? I keep going. Because worn down isn't beaten. And frustration is not gonna kill me. And the things that don't go my way, they just turn into targets that I'm going to attack harder. And when I do come up short, it's okay, because I just learned one more thing that's gonna get me over the top.
Some of you were born into hell. Some of you are just in hell. Life is hard, it's kicking your ass. There's a tactic in wildland firefight that when the fire is coming at you and there's no escape route, but you start a fire around you, that fire around you starts to kill off and burn off all those fuels. It creates a black around you. The black means you can't get burned over. Some of you all out there need to create a fire with inside of your ass and get the f out of hell. Stay home.
But I wanted more. I want to be more. I want to become more. And when more is given you, more becomes required. You're going to go through some things in order to birth those dreams. You're going to upset some people because you aren't willing to accept the norm. It's easy to accept you if you're willing to fit into the norm. But there's a new norm for you. The new norm is to upset systems. It's to change the way they see things. It's to challenge authorities. It's to become a voice yourself. It's to find out why. It's to find out what. It's to find out when. But see, when you're the dreamer of dreams.
People lie. People pretend. All these people out there that you think have all the shit together, they're fucking lying. They go home at night and they have issues. They go home at night and they have struggles. They have thoughts. They have these anxious feelings that you have. All of these things that you have, they have. They just don't tell you because they're so in love with the image of themselves. They want themselves to feel above you, and they're afraid that if you see that they're actually real, you won't love them anymore. But the truth is you'll love them more because they're more like you.
I would say, though, that no one stops listening to a symphony because they know it's going to end. And so I think, in some sense, our proper task is to find the meaning within the finite. But something meaningful, that would keep them going and keep them from straying and keep them from thinking homicidal and genocidal thoughts, all of that. And meaning, that's the antidote to suffering. The question is, well, how is that best to be found? Well, that's an empirical question. You have to look in your own life and see where meaning glimmers and then pursue that.
If things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. And it's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. But that doesn't mean give up. In fact, it means the opposite. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the war path.
You carry a great weight, but the weight that you carry brings about a great reward. You're a leader. You're an example. Yeah, you dream, but you also bring it to fruition. You are not simply someone with head in the sky. You're someone that goes to the sky and brings others to it. And when they can't see it, you paint a picture and tell them to look up. You don't have to keep your head down. There's something greater ahead of us. We don't have to give up. We don't have to quit. There's another quarter. I don't care if we're down 5 touchdowns. There's more in us because we've had this 2-minute drill before. And there's more time on the clock, and until it hits 0, I'm not done, you're not done, we haven't lost, we can still win.
It won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. And these challenges that you face, they're gonna do their best to take you down. Do not let them. Stand up, dig in. Line up those problems and confront them, face them.
I want to see that guy who immersed himself in fucking hell. And he thought about quitting and leaving and his wife and his kids. And why am I here? Is it worth it? All this crazy shit. And found out a way to get through it. But usually we react. We have pain, we have suffering, we react. And we react about, get the fuck out of here. It's those people who are able to control that feeling of flight and say, no, motherfucker, there's a way through this. It's going to end. It's going to end, but we don't know that. We don't think that. At that time, it's going to last forever. So what keeps me going? I've quit several things. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. It's a lifetime of thinking about why the fuck did I do that? And I ain't fucking doing that no more.
Your eyes are the window to your soul of belief, inspiration, the willpower. And just like when you put something in your mouth and you chew it, it can either enhance the physique of yourself or be the demise depending on what you're eating. And the same goes true with what you see. There's a visual diet out there that's good and bad. There's negative energy if you look at it and you focus on, you allow that to come in, there'd be a demise of your willpower. The demise of your self-confidence, what you can be and what you believe in. You focus on negative so much, you start to believe that negative exists in you. That's a negative, unhealthy diet.
Failure is not an option. You can't even let it sink into your brain, not even a second. You have to know that this thing is going to work. Come hell or high water, whatever it is that I set out to do, it may not happen in 6 months, it may not happen in a year, it may not happen in 2 years, but at some point, my dream is going to become a reality.
I don't care how good you are in anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody. You're nothing without discipline. Because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
And just because we're going through a hard time, we have a setback, that's not a part of the journey. I'm gonna tell you right now, God will allow things to happen in your life to grow different things in your life. So a lot of us, we going through a time right now in our life, we're like, man, God don't love me, man. Life ain't fair, man. Everybody else getting blessed, and everybody else having the right things in their life, and everybody else is going through everything. They happy, they joy. And I'm in this moment. Let me tell you something. When you look back on your path, it's the moments that were difficult that built your strongest faith.
When the alarm sounds, it's time. Rise. Despite fatigue and soreness, curse the warmth of the bed. Curse the comfort of the pillow. Fight the temptation of weakness. Get up and go.
You go after and you give it all you have. If you lose, at least you try, man. I failed. It's 10 times more of a man than someone said, what if? Because what if never went to the arena. when you guys find a fear, that fear will either create you or destroy you.
This is yours. You're the captain, you're the master, you're the foreman, you're the general, you're the head. Don't give control of this to nobody.
Everything is going wrong, right? It seems as if the wall's falling down. It seems as if, man, don't nothing work. Oftentimes, there was decisions and choices made far prior to that moment that's contributing to that moment, seeming as if the walls are falling down. And so when you look at shortcuts in different areas and aspects of life, I always think to the point of, like, man, you know that's an illusion. Right? You know it's an illusion. You know sooner than later you're gonna end up in a dead end. You know sooner than later you're gonna get to a point in space and place in your life to where when it doesn't work, it's gonna be hard to turn that finger back. Like when you point and you blame them, it's gonna be hard to turn that thing back and say, nah, this me.
It was the hardest times that built your strongest strength. It was the hardest times that built the endurance in your life. It was the hardest times that built your belief. So you might be in a season right now where the world is trying to lie to you. The world is trying to tell you that your life is over. The world is trying to tell you that you ain't special. The world is trying to tell you that you ain't got no worth, that you ain't got no value. The world is trying to tell you that better days aren't ahead for your life. The world is trying to tell you that nobody else will love you, care about you. The world will tell you that your dreams are over. And I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot easier to believe those things when you look at your circumstances. But I tell you all the time, and I want to tell you right now, you can't trust your circumstances. You gotta trust your faith.
I love fear. The reason why? Behind every fear is a person you want to be. Fear is self-imposed, meaning it doesn't exist. You create it, you can destroy it too. It's an intangible. If you face your fears, guys, you will realize it's not that big. And once you face it, you go, oh my God, man, I spent all this time running from it. It was so small. If I just faced it, my God, not only did I face it, I beat it back, energy's never lost, transferred. That negative energy, that fear, is destroyed. It comes back in as confidence. You're like, what else am I capable of? What else am I holding my back from that I'm capable of more? What am I running from I don't need to? What else can I overcome?
Push through tough times, I'm sure, many of them. But as you push through those, you become more. As you become more, something magical happens. You don't just grow, you expand in your spirit and your soul and your capacity and your skill. And all of a sudden, fear becomes less and less a part of you.
Do not reason with weakness. You cannot. You must only take action. Get up and go.
The thing that you'll resent isn't whether or not you make it. The thing that you'll resent is, now that you know you can, will you actually try?
If you find a fear, the quickest, the easiest way you can beat it is initially, right when it comes in. If you allow it to sit, it will grow root and start breaking you down, destroying the potential of the person you can be. Again, the champions, guys, it's not their potential, it's not their genetics. It's their perseverance to always show up, always willing to fail, because in failure, that's part of success. Success is not, a marathon of life with just ups. Success is formulated through failures. Through facing your fears, through falling down and getting back up. That's what creates the champion.
Whatever you've done up to this point, all that it really is a duplication, it's a reproduction of what you believe subconsciously that you deserve and what's possible for your life. Operate out of your imagination, not your memory.
I don't know everything. I have not accomplished everything. I'm not where I want to be. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still trying to get better. You've got to position yourself and stop pouting. Stop crying. Stop looking at what other people are getting and look at what they're doing. And if you start doing it, you'll start getting it. You don't get out of life what you want. You get out of life what you earn.
Stand up. Go forward. Go out in a blaze of glory, fighting with everything you've got, every bead of sweat, every drop of blood until your last breath.
What an opportunity you just gave yourself. You could have fueled yourself with something like coffee, or you could have got an energy drink, but instead you decided to feed the mind and feed the soul. Because you realize that there's more to this than just having something for a moment. You don't need a jolt. What you need is a will. A fire ignited inside of you that will not quit. It doesn't matter what you faced yesterday, doesn't matter what mental traffic you have. Today is such a gift to you that there's no way you're going to waste it.
When it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life. And that I can't do.
When people can't get up in the morning, I'm going to tell you why. Because they can predict the feeling of everything that's going to happen in their life, and their body's resigned to the familiar. It says, oh, another mundane day. But remember when you were a kid and you were going on a field trip? What happened then? You were up dressed and ready to go before your parents were up, because you knew something unexpected was going to happen. That's how we should live our lives. Waking up with the understanding to expect the unexpected, and something unusual should happen in our life as a result of our efforts.
The only way anything gets accomplished, you gotta work hard. I can't remember what the f***'s in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read it again. Still not getting it. Read it again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And guess what happened? I got it. I can't swim. I'm negative buoyant. Go back again. I can't swim. Go back again. Go back again. Go back again. I got it. I realize if I keep going back and going back and going back, your mind will say, okay, we're gonna figure it out, because he is not going to stop.
And if you just stop wasting the opportunities that are in front of you, you'd be who knows how much more efficient, 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's off the charts.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup. It becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
If you take an oak tree seed and you put it in a 2-foot pot, that seed will never become the oak tree that oak trees are capable of becoming, because it's gonna get stifled by the 2-foot pot. Now check this out, ain't nothing wrong with the seed. Seed just fell prey to the environment. Don't you allow your environment to dictate the oak tree that you become.
Now I can appreciate that life is hard. I can appreciate that it's a struggle. I can appreciate that there's all kinds of things not going your way. But guess what? They're never gonna, unless you make it. So you may sit there and look at yourself, and maybe you're even buying into the media. Maybe you're even believing that because you were born a certain race, or you were born to certain parents, or you had shitty parents, or you've suffered from depression, or you're overweight, or all these motherfucking things that they put in your face to give you the exact excuse as to why you can't achieve what it is you want to achieve. You've got 6 months left in the year. That's a lot of game to be played. You may be down by 10 runs, but guess what? People just like you, people just like you, people with the same situation as you, people with harder circumstances than you, have gutted it up and gritted it out and came out a winner before you.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them.
If you want to be great, you want to be the baddest motherfucker ever at what you do, you're going to be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so fucking obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes. It takes every second of your fucking life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of fucking people. It is. But if you want to fucking go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you fucking do, you've arrived. When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive.
Be motivated, not just halfway, but absolutely motivated.
I have a very simple answer for that. Here and now. That's it. You want to improve? You want to get better? You want to get on a workout program or a clean diet? You want to start a business? You want to write a book or make a movie or build a house or a computer? Where do you start? You start right here. And when do you start? You start right now.
Be channeled with your energy. Be focused with your conversations. Enjoy life with thrill and purpose, but understand that there is a reason God gave you today, and you're going to make the most of it.
Meaning there was a certain point in all of our lives where somebody saw something in us when we didn't see it in ourselves, and we took that level of belief and let it propel us into the next dimension of our lives. And so the thing we have to remember in defining moments, and what I mean by defining moments, moments that define us and moments that break us is, what about the people that saw something in me when I couldn't see it in myself? What about the people that invested in me when they didn't have to? How can I quit on them?
You may not feel qualified. You don't think you have the talent. The odds are against you. You wouldn't have that opportunity if you weren't already equipped. It's in you, but you have to call it out. You have to start blessing yourself. You'll be tempted to talk about all the reasons why you're not able. It's too big. You don't have the resources. You come from the wrong family. Or don't curse yourself.
Great at. There's lots of hierarchies to attempt to climb, and if you fail in one, go try in another. But the point is, you're still trying to aim for the top, and what the hell are you going to do if you don't try to aim for the top? You know, flap about uselessly and whine about your life? It's not helpful. It'll just make you miserable. You're not reliable to anyone. You can't help out in a crisis. I don't care what you're going to do, but go out there and make something of yourself for God's sake. Be an honest person and work and get to the top of whatever it is that you want to get to the top of. Stand up for yourself like a respectable human being and be a bit of a light on the world instead of a blight.
There's nothing people can say, nothing they can do that can keep you from your purpose. And yes, there may be seasons of disrespect where it looks like they're getting the upper hand, but your time is coming. The meal is being prepared. You can trust the faithfulness of God.
Decide to live your fantasy. See, in life, you can go through life, you can come up with reasons or you can come up with results. You can come up with excuses or you can come up with achievements. You can go through life blaming or you can come up with solutions. The choice is in your hands, satisfaction or despair. We can choose that.
I will try 100 times to get up. And if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever gonna get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's what most people miss out of life. You've got to be willing to risk. If you're not willing to risk, you can't grow in life.
Have a vision of the person you could become, and to reach the pearly gates, as it were, see who you could have been, contrast it with who you actually are, and be disappointed by the gap between them. And I love chasing that. I think it's a beautiful chase. But what I hope you guys will do, if you ever find yourself at the pearly gates disappointed in how much farther you could have gone, to simply ask one question of yourself every day. Did I give it my all today?
If you took on all the responsibility you could take on, and you faced everything that you needed to face, who would you be? And how would the world transform around you?
Wondering why other people are successful is the refuge of losers. It's a loser mentality. It's a loser occupation. It's a loser practice. Because you're wondering why other people are successful. Like, who gives a you can say you think it sucks, but to spend time wondering why someone is successful and hating on someone for being successful, it doesn't do any good.
If your life is a series of, yes, I did, you've won. You've won. Guys, the struggle is guaranteed. The struggle is guaranteed. The struggle is guaranteed. The success is not. And like, the thing that I beg you guys is to have the guts to fail at something that you love. And when you are on the mud, on your face, and people are laughing, the I told you so's are coming out, that you remember one simple fact. You loved what you were doing. And you left it out on the field. What the f else is there? What the f else is there? What more can you ask of yourself than to really try, to really say, I give a shit about this? That's the life to live. That's the life. Like, to say, I care about this, it matters. It gives me purpose. I'm gonna fight for this. This is a group of people I wanna serve.
And it turns out that if you face things, that you can put up with a lot more than you think you can put up with, and you can do it without becoming corrupted.
You can also find every excuse as to why you won't make it. You can find every reason, if you look for it, as to why you won't make it. But at the end of the day, there's going to be two groups of people. And one group is going to be a lot fucking bigger than the other group. The one group is going to get told that they can't do it. And instead of fighting, and instead of working, and instead of, saying, well, f that, I'm not willing to accept that, those people are going to just take it. And that's what society's counting on. Society is counting on you giving up. Then there's going to be a smaller group. And the smaller group is going to be the group that says, hey, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but I'm not willing to accept that. I'm not willing to just roll over and take what I'm given. I'm not willing to stop trying because you say that I can't fucking do it. That's what you say. That doesn't mean it's the truth.
And I'm gonna go all the way out every day. And look, you're not gonna hit it every day. There's gonna be days where you're off. There's gonna be days where you're weak. But if that day, instead of bullshitting yourself, instead of saying I wasn't weak today, what are you talking about? If that day you own it and you say, yeah, I was weak today and I'm not going to be weak tomorrow, but I'm not afraid to face that. I'm not afraid to look in the mirror and say today was a bad day, that I didn't make myself proud today, but that shouldn't diminish who you are.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master, we all have dreams. I had it when I was younger. So I figured the best place to make those dreams come true are in isolation. So I walked into isolation as David Goggins. But I walked out of isolation as Goggins. When you become a savage, is in isolation. You go in isolation, and that's when your mind changes. That's when your focus changes. Your dedication changes. Don't use this time to fuck up your mind. Use it to gain strength, gain focus. Isolation is the key to strengthening your mind. Come on, savage.
You have to decide to make a stand sometime in life.
I don't tell people that they're okay the way they are. No, I say, no, you could be way more than you are. If you're in a dark and terrible place and someone says you're okay the way you are, then you don't know what to do about that. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm having a terrible time and I'm hopeless. You're okay the way you are. Well, then what? That's it? That's where I am? You got 60 years to be better, and you could be way better. You could be incomparably better across multiple dimensions. And in pursuing that better, that's where you'll find the meaning in your life. And that will give you the antidote to the suffering.
A backbone that is inside of you, that is because of the will in you not to give up, not to quit, so you can desire to be more by becoming more.
No matter what's going on in your life, it's not permanent. Everything is going to change. So there's two things you can do with change. You can react to it or you can participate in it. It's gonna change anyway. So if you keep waiting around, you're gonna have to react to the change. And now you're behind. But if you participate in the change, if you know the job you have is not gonna last forever. So what you gotta start doing is you gotta start anticipating that it's going to change and just start living your life with the preparation for change.
I don't care how good you are in anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody. You're nothing without discipline. Because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
I hate plan B. Every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A. I've never ever had a plan B. No matter what it takes, I will do the work. I will do the work over and over and over until I get it.
But you got a worldwide vision that is inside of you. You cannot settle for a localized dream and being pulled down to a generalized dream that everybody has. You're an individual for a reason. Your fingerprint is different than anybody else you know because you are an individual. The shame is that most people will put on gloves and hide their individuality and end up becoming a carbon copy of someone that failed. Because now you pick up their bad habits and you have your own. You're double the mess that you could have been. You don't need to imitate someone. You need to become you. You need to ignite what's inside of you to become what you've never seen out of anybody else.
We have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim.
You can think about it, you can wish for it, you can hope for it, you can think all about it all as long as you want. But unless you get out every single motherfucking day and put in the work, inch by motherfucking inch, you will never get there. I want you to take the word hope and I want you to throw it on the motherfucking ground and I want you to replace it with the word I will fucking do, because that's the only chance you got.
We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable.
I don't care if they say you look just like someone, you behave just like someone. You are unique, you are wonderfully made, you are one of a kind, handcrafted by God. I don't care if you've got disabilities, I don't care if you've had struggles in life that have tried to hold you back. What's inside of you is greater than what you've been through. You have to go and get that small child that's inside of you. You need to reconcile with it and tell it you can get up, you can go after your dreams, you're okay. I am validating you, I am not abandoning you, I'm coming back for you.
Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. Keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
All of us have fallen, but you have a choice to rise. And when you rise, you can also arrive at a better place than you've ever been, with a better mindset than you've ever held. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Just like the moon and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like the hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain I rise. I am a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tribe. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear I rise.
You know how many stories of potential it is in the world? You know how many stories of potential of cats that had the juice, and then you see them 5-10 years later, and they blaming the institution, and they blaming the coach because they didn't have the heart, integrity, and character to show up every single day and do what they said they were gonna do? Stories of potential. Stories of cats telling them how great they were destined to be.
When I say bitch, it's not gender specific. It's a mindset. It means weak, soft, feel sorry for yourself. Get your ass up and lace them up. Stay hard.
Into the daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
That the reason discipline is hard to maintain is because it is hard to maintain. That's what makes discipline hard. It's hard. Holding the line, maintaining the standard, giving no slack, none. That's the discipline. That's the discipline, and it is hard. And if there's one thing I would say that does make it easier, it's to envision what it feels like when you're done. What it feels like after you've worked out, or you've held the line on your food intake, or you've pushed through some monotonous project that you have to do, and all those things. When they're done, they feel good.
Ladies and gentlemen, fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear puts people in the hospital. Fear can age you. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you are capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. And it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell. And I ask you a question, what is the benefit? What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself, of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that?
Vision what you will feel like later when you let the discipline slack. You know the feeling. Feeling weak and defeated, and you know that you're falling behind. So get to know those two different types of feelings and ask yourself which one you want to feel in.
So I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. It's not going to happen. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on.
There's things in our life that are controlling how we feel about ourselves. And depending on how those things go, that's how we feel about ourselves. And there's no way inner peace can be experienced when we tie our worth to these things. The greatest war you ever will face in your life, the greatest war you ever will face in your life is right here. Your mind is a battlefield.
Every one of us can rise no matter what your background or origin has been. You are not the result of somebody's mistake or sin. You are someone because God made you to be phenomenal, and you will rise. Whatever it is you've gone through, it is a training ground to give you the experience and the backbone that's necessary so that you can stand firm and stand strong against whatever comes up against you. The storms of life will come, but that storm must also have an eye. And in the eye of that storm is I. It's you. To stand there and say that the storm around me may swirl and the winds may rise, but I rise with it. I will survive it because there's something great in me that's got to come out. I will rise. I will rise. Out of the surety of defeat, I can rise and win. Because I am a child of the great I am.
The enemy wants to plant thoughts in your head that your life is over. Wants to put thoughts in your head that God doesn't love you. Wants to put thoughts in your head that you're not good enough. Wants to put thoughts in your head that you're not worth it. Because the greatest war It's an internal war.